artist SEAK Claus Winkler. I'm showing here in my art performance art video this piece of art itself. My work and talking about how I want to talk. I'm trying to get into the zone of trying this victim language of like just talking freely and showing what I think, what I'm thinking at the moment. Yeah, this is also art, an art video, just like I said, also because I'm talking what I'm seeing. So, yeah. Should I talk in English or not? Um, every day another black pill. While I'm painting, working my studio, realizations how fucked we are because of the boomers. I mean, this is already something I reckoned in my childhood and the American re-education they were experiencing. And yeah, I can't talk like I would like to talk, because then I would lose my account, and Mossad and Palantir will Charlie Kirk me right away. And before that, the leftist anti-white helpers here in the system in Germany would probably also go on me. So yeah, maybe my art is passive aggressive. Then okay, if the boomers doesn't want to hear because they're American re-educated, then the sick frequency in the word seek, with all this like bad, evil, degenerates interpretations in my art, if there are, like anal chains or like sex toy things. I don't know, like take out the brakes out of people, and then the pendulum goes to the left to full-on self-destructive degeneracy, so that the pendulum swings in the other direction, that it forces the boomer to wake up. But what I underestimated was the ego investments and the rationalization of decisions and coping mechanisms. The brain is protecting the ego. So, and I'm in the uncomfortable situation that my name, SEAK Claus Winkler, suggests I should manifest a lie or do the very opposite. And if you are the bringer of bad news and burst ego bubbles, people hate you because you're speaking out uncomfortable truths, and you disrupt the power system people have. And then people have to come up with solutions, with new things, with the acceptance of having lived a lie, and in the current state, effed up Europe, a culture of thousands of years, and the DNA pool and stuff like that. And because in weak people and weak minds, especially if they're indoctrinated by certain people, they maybe don't want to hear that. There you go. And they still keep on breeding, because we are in a birth rate jihad forever. This is just one filter. You can also take the cult, Abrahamic triage cult part out of it. So I mean, it's called the Cassandra syndrome also, maybe. Maybe I should do this video in German so I can more freely talk who I am. And this painting is, for example, from the, I don't know, late 90s, beginning 2000s. It's like lots of S before the jump. It's like the rebel fleet before they end up in front of the Death Star. And yes, the surfaces of the spaceships in Star Wars are all done with scale models from Japan, who are showing German World War II. I mean, probably not just German, but in majority German World War II war vehicle designs, surfaces, model parts. But this has nothing to do with me being me. Okay, let's talk about me. At the moment I'm rearranging my studio, which is a good path also to clean up everything. well, there is like a little bit of a media interest because I started telling the truth. And this is just the dumbed down truth, the simplified truth, with facts, of course, formulated in a way that it's legal, also not just because of free speech, but also because of its art. And then you can interpret it in all kinds of different ways. And it also shows who's boss. And boss is people with tiny heads. They are most important. They control everything. And we all must serve them. And who is not doing that is an evil And all these words the systems are using are usually from the Bolshevik time. And those Bolsheviks weren't even Russian. And they neutralized in that new country of theirs 60 million of the indigenous people. And they're repeating it and repeating it and repeating it. So what you can do is you can take away from the system the words. For that you have to debunk the words and know the history of the words. You can also do that with the anti-German or anti-white N-word they're using all the time, because it's the ending of the tribal connotation of a tribe of those people, starting with A. I could talk here and explaining my art and putting my art into that context for hours, and I would probably could become, a star on Rumble or Telegram or a political leader till Mossad or CIA or those henchmen are reminding me of that I'm mortal, la-di-da-di-da. Maybe I should talk about that, but I want to talk about my art, or should talk about my art, or about myself. Which I can't, because you are experiencing here a stifled version because of German laws and stuff like that. But there's lots of, on Telegram, lots of pro-white, alt-right German activists, which are, I recommend you should follow them if you're from Germany or speak German predominantly. Why I'm talking like that? Because the boomers won't buy my work. I mean, they could have the chance for the last decades, and they didn't do it. Not in the way I wanted it, especially not for the prices. And plus, the art market is oversaturated and overfed anyways. So fuck them, you know. I mean, not fuck them, you know. It's just like. Plus, they want to believe in that dumbed down boomer truth, and that goes completely against the triggers in my name. And I'm steered by the words and the triggers and the connotations within my name, which is a curse and a blessing itself. And my orientation is truth, which is the most provocative or crazy thing you can do, telling people the truth, because it's the least that I want to hear. But it's also protection, self-protection. And if you own everything about yourself, all weaknesses, all flaws, then it's all good. So, one punishment we can do to the boomers is if we are culturally, artistically, or economically important and significant, is to prepare to evacuate in other countries for the time till Martin Sellner, millions of, the story. Millions must go back on holiday or go home, la-di-da. So until then, educating boomers and ideological people who are working against nature that we are not interested, and that means, taking away the life energy somewhere else. I mean, the only reason, to be honest, staying here is having children, having the children paid by the state. But the problem is you have the homeschooling. Homeschooling must be legal for that. So what I heard in awakened circles is how to counter-educate your children against what the lies the teachers are selling in the school system, as well as trying to get out of the system somehow. And or that the children just that they know school as enemy territory, and they must sit the time there away and just, in Germany we say, auf Durchzug schalten, to get rid of everything, and to completely know what's going on there. And the problem is also those teachers who are based, they can't tell the truth, because then it's against the law because of certain truths, and other truths the system would completely kick them out, la-di-da, It's also a matter of those who are working for the system and believing or pretending to believe in the lies. They are so disgusted by themselves that they only accept other people in the system and in their ranks who are also lying and playing the lie along, the victor's truth and everything. And if you don't do that, they let you out. And when they say, oh, you're also one of us, it's also a shame, They're ashamed of themselves, they're disgusted by themselves. And then they hate the righteous person, the unbroken person, they hate their guts. So what I did for many years was admitting or talking about drugs or degeneracy and stuff like that, but then in a way that it's so escalating that leftists and people in the system didn't saw me, they saw themselves, and so they couldn't hate on me, because then they see themselves, they are not jealous, they're not envious, because leftists and everybody, from CDU to the left, is leftists. The fun part is they don't even see themselves as leftists. That's the crazy part. So people hate those who are unbroken, and are strong. And they hate everything. The good, the degenerate, the evil, the bad. I'm not evil and bad in terms of this is already by any means necessary. But pro nature, pro-life, pro-tribe, blood tribe, family, if you want to will. But families, of course, also can fight internally. Don't be naive here. They hate the strong. The leftists, the weak, the collectivists hate the strong individual, the unbroken. They want to bring them down. So it's and also on top comes the 48 laws of power from Robert Greene. Be careful with Robert Greene. He also has a liberal mindset, or at least he must promote a liberal mindset. Otherwise, the system won't allow him. When people are perfect, they awake insecurities in other people's, and that creates hate, because it's destabilization. Similar if you tell people the truth. Because people hate the destabilization because they know it's true, and they can't separate those feelings, and then they project on you, plus it's bad news, plus you force them out of their ego bubbles and ego investments. Plus maybe you can even name them the dynamic they are using on them against themselves, against others, plus then the disgust effect amplifies, plus you're not obeying them. And that creates a spiral, which of course I've never experienced on my own from both sides. No, never. So nobody is. This also plays in the other direction as well too. So in parts. Anyway, so it's always good to fake that insecurities. And my side, it's very easy. I'm here too fat. Look, see here, I'm also one of you. I'm also degenerate. Or I can pull out drug stories. Drug stories, if they are lived, are also always great, because then you can scare off leftists and anti-whites. Because or bring them into reason, you know. Like a classic one was if people were trying, or boomers or their helpers were trying to, I don't know, in public, this is like NRW experience, like post-Caliphate street smarts, trying to do something or looking funny, you just throw in a few swear words from people who they are settling here since 40 years from outside of Europe, as swear words, and then the classical German is ducking and cucking away and knows its place, which sounds super disgusting because I'm German, but this is like how they behave here. Because the boomer and their system has taught the Germans that masculinity is just allowed. I mean, this is like already. This is like also like kind of like boomer to talk about this. You know, like this is like the slop I'm talking about while I'm showing my art, just because I'm afraid of getting cancelled or anything, which is like or anything. Not cancelled. I mean, like here on YouTube, you know, it's because. But I guess I'm shadow banned also to the brim, anyways. Plus, the content I'm here creating is so overfilled and over, you know, because everybody who paints and is doing something is like doing like high class videos, probably with. So it's like anyway. Yeah, my advice is to follow all the most right-wing, most pro-white people you can get a hold of. Because they are forbidding the truth, and they are telling the truth, because it's the only option they have. Yeah, so there you have it. Keep it simple. Not that I'm keeping it simple in my paintings, but maybe I should. Yeah, one reason why those paintings are so small is also space, in terms of space for painting, and then lack of large surfaces, lack of being focused and concentrate good, lack of technical skills, so I had to learn all that. Then maybe the thought of, okay, if I paint small, I can make myself independent from the art market, because I don't have gallery representation, and plus maybe curators told me, there was like few curators from the art market, or one famous curator who told me like years ago I should paint small paintings. Not paint small paintings, because rich people just buy one painting and then they don't buy for like 20, 30 years to want to see how you develop on the market. Well, I don't trust people, and he didn't also kept his word on certain things. So I kept painting small, you know, and plus then also. I'll say that, but then kept painting detail to say like if someone, a collector, then can pay lots of money for it, or they can F off, you know. Plus I can also paint on a wall if I want or need fast money, or I mean technically, but these days I would say it's a waste of time. Sometimes I get like lots of requests for wall paintings, but if it's the wrong people and something I don't want to invest in, out of, you know, in terms of time, I'm not doing it. And yeah. These are all letters. I can tell this in every time letters. It's like SEAK. I should talk my videos in German, because then it's probably more easy to say something different, to let just my mind talk. I'm seeing everything these days to a more and more political lens, also because I've become a minority, or I'm a minority in the discounter supermarkets I'm buying, and I've been growing up here in the first years of my life, and now I'm one of the only Europeans in the shop, depending on the time I'm shopping, or there are times on the day when there's almost no one there, and then Europeans are in minority in at least, we'll say, half of the people in the supermarket. But most of the time, it's Europeans in the supermarket here are in a minority. And I'm not talking about the people working there. I'm talking in general, like people who are working there plus people shopping there. Yes. So, and once I have money, or money is coming in, I must I must leave Germany, my homeland, and this house, I guess, because then otherwise I would feed the system here, and they use the money we earn to get us off the map. So plus you have like a ridiculous amount of taxes, and they are raising the taxes, la di da di da. Yesterday I bought food, and that was a little bit less the money I've spent for the food. I put it away with the bike, with my bike, and it was a little bit less than I earned when I did an apprenticeship as an electronic electrician, industrial electronic electrician, it's like a high-grade electrician. Didn't finish it because it was too complicated for me. So what I became in a month. I bought just one time in the supermarket, and that will probably hold for a week what I bought, just to let you know. No alcohol, nothing fancy. So yeah, it's the boomers still not learning. Anyway, it's crazy. They completely live in a totally different world, in an illusion. Yeah. Yeah, the two world wars were created to destroy European culture and Europe. That's why they planned decades ago in Washington D.C. and in the city of London those two world wars. Perfect plan, I must say. Yeah, I don't know. I was thought if I would speak. If I would speak now German, I would speak much more freely. It's different when I speak it in English. I don't know. Different vibe. Yeah, with my growth, with my awakening up, in parallel, my paintings became more layers. So each layer is also a layer of knowledge, a layer of time, which sounds like boring platitude, usual artist talk, but it has its truth, because in parallel I was digging in deeper into the layers of lies and of manufactured history, like it's called Victor's Truth, Siegerwahrheit. Yeah, and this is like, and then you dig up to the truth and the uncomfortable truth. It's not uncomfortable, it's just uncomfortable if your ego invested, and I never had a problem with what we supposed allegedly did. I just, but there was maybe like a deeper understanding or wisdom or maturity in me. Yeah, so and with like the layers of paintings becoming more layers, my depth in knowledge also went deeper on certain things, and on words and meanings and concentration. So that goes kind of like congruent with that. So in which direction will I develop my paintings? Because my taste changes, my skill set as a painter is changing. I'm getting better or more skilled. Then that means, and also from what I want to say, from the composition. I can keep my paintings abstract, if you will, but I can also, integrate less universal, more identity and cultural content. especially in times where they want to erase and take away anything white and anything, all the differences in Europe. And they're doing this, for example, with language and using all English terms in terms of like Volksgemeinschaft. They talk about community or team or something like that. And when you steal people the words and shame words very subtly, you can take away everything which has meaning, because those new people, they want to feel good in their new territory. And so for that you have to, I'm just talking here stuff everybody knows. I mean, like, so the question is then, should I keep parts of my paintings as universalistic, liberal, on a liberal slope, or being neutral frequency of like interpretation, and then other paintings creating or freezing in or something, or manifesting words or symbols or meanings which are necessary for whites to preserve, because it's part of white culture, or your German culture or European culture, however you want to call it. And if you are from the system, you're trying to F me, maybe I'm not talking about ethnicities, maybe I'm talking about drugs, or about like people who paint themselves, or people who doesn't want to get a sunburn and are afraid of the sun, like the sun in the sky, something like that. So I'm just telling you that, if you're like, it's also a matter of interpretation, so. Yeah, the questions, making lots of children, that's the thing. So how to paint, my question for myself, and for this I must have the thought sink in a way. How can I transform my paintings into steering white people to have more children? Especially within their own folk, so they have plus debunking the mate suppression, those good, wealthy or non-wealthy social climber white female women here in the West are doing when they're demonstrating against their own kind, including those white women who didn't become the 6 million or 600K a year, 6 inches in the pants, 6 inches in height, and 6 cylinders in the garage chat, as well as those who became him, and as well they didn't, plus breeding them 6 children, and the others not having all that, and then just trying to turn over the playboard and rooting it for everybody, those are the motivations of those leftist women, demonstrating, and those women need to debunk. And what does has something to do with art? Yeah, I could literally like paint a painting, for example, like a little sentence in a painting, from which parts in the movie, in the YouTube video from Admiral Paul Saverho about main suppression you've benefited the most, as a question. That's an option. So everybody has see this painting, will probably maybe remember that, then watch this video, think me, and then they learned something, That's an opportunity to, because regarding on or relaying on that in a few years in museums there will be a different, people are also show other art, or collectors will buy other art. I don't know, because everybody follows the money, and we know who has the money, and plus they control also the curators and everything, the system. So yeah. I wish I could talk now about something different. You could have a different perspective of me, and I'm leaving here documents in time about myself and how I think. And that's the only stuff I can come up with just because I'm talking English. So I will do another video in German, and then I will both talk more like how I talk or what I think about things. I don't know. It's English triggers or steers me in a different way than German, I guess. I have a different persona, different perceptions, also different letters and different sounds. Yeah, I don't want to do any like good videos which then are super clever with a hook here and everything, la-di-da-di-da, and wasting all this time in painting to hope that I get like some views in a rigged system of YouTube which is owned by the people who want me off the map and steer and control the democracy simulation we are living in. And they are also behind the mass, yeah. So I rather paint. Yeah. Yeah, it's. I can't even tell you what we are all experiencing here. If you see the birth rates of German women, they don't want to make any children. And they think 2 or 3. On those who think they have a lot of children, have 2 or 3 children, I think that's enough. It's ridiculous. But this was already clear when I was in kindergarten and in elementary school. We as children had already that topic. So yeah, nothing new. It's all you already knew that, or it's just now it becomes more evident, or now it becomes real, and it goes fast. Which doesn't mean we go out without a fight, aren't we? Yeah, my ego, the ego gives credit, and I experience here also ego death because I like the work of the other artists. I'm also liking plus then I reckoning that I did lots of growth in terms of painting and technique, and also in the meaning and in the message and the composition and everything. So I realized, well, maybe there's some more reason for growth in my paintings. A quick warning: if you are a hater, and I know you're watching these videos too, or if you are watching it over to then try to write text against me, please consider that when I painted these things and where I'm coming from, this was avant-garde in terms of technique as well as aesthetic as well as the act itself. That means if you are a hater, I guess you come from you also in thought and ideology groups where you experience purity spirals, maybe just in both directions. And we had that in the graffiti scene too, which means like you have to paint like this. It has to be with outline. This is not real letters. This is not real graffiti. It has to look like this, like completely stifled and non-creative and completely, I don't know, like they don't. It's like, I don't know. It's like if you would reenact the Napoleonic Wars. And you make like the epaulets, the thing which officers had here, or like people who are guarding the palace of an emperor or something had like large golden things here, and you would make them bigger and bigger and more ridiculous. And then you demand like everybody has to have them, and the horses also must have things like that, you know, completely stupid. It's the same thought process, you know. Plus, it can't be in this technique, it must have this, it must have that, blah, 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 you know. And this was also the time. Plus, certain techniques weren't even developed, and like, it wasn't just me, of course, there were also other colleagues of mine who like came up with new ideas, you know. And my name, or what I did was like the name is from the sound, makes you so radical, not radical, this is like Bolshevik talk, it makes you go so much into clarity because of the E and the S, like S and the E, and then the A, and then the K, you know? So you completely, it's like you crash against the wall. And it completely destabilizes and takes off any energy. It's like disgust, then A, maybe gay, maybe A, and concentration, realization, or the very opposite. And then the K, and then the breakthrough, bams. So that goes like imagine you are, I mean, I'm speaking now to the leftists watching these videos. Let's say you always use those buzzwords, you know, like rechtsextreme, like right-wing extremist, or like the N-word, you know, the NA, you know, the word, or the word. Imagine you are one of those people, or the people of accusing the Bolshevik, who did like 60 million or something. And then you were just committing those 60 millions, and then you start even eating them, and then and sitting in them, and like playing with their parts, and making a cake with them, and then decorating yourself with the parts and running around the streets, something like that. Plus normalizing that, and then everybody in the street is doing that completely beyond, you can imagine, beyond what I can say here. And even beyond that. This is like how the name steers you into them, some kind of like land of free of structure and full of disgust and craziness and whatever. So, which can be used for or against something. In conjunction with my normal name, it goes in a totally different direction, of course, and can be steered from people, la-di-da-di-da. The point is, but it can also contain that energy, or it can takes it to a creative level where anything goes. And this can help against stifling thoughts, and creates also creativity. And this was an effect I had, and I know and I, as well as many of my colleagues, we just did, especially the new people, they did everything which was practical, you know. It must be practical, because you are painting at some wall somewhere, you must be secure, so you need practical play toys. If people are doing stupid things, or trying to think they're like tough guys, la-di-da. You have to be creative in how you work with your paint, la-di-da-di-da. And there were like so many stuff. I mean, I remember we were standing in the woods in a train yard with commuter trains on a weekend, and had like a discussion about if it's real to roll the whole car. I mean, like a whole wagon, like full on, it's called a whole car, it's like a whole train wagon. If it's real to roll it with roller paint, with chrome roller paint, instead of using spray can, because that would be still graffitis, it's blah, 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 which is completely stupid. So these days, people are using all kinds of techniques, but this is like, we're like avant-garde, or I can speak for myself. With what I'm doing, I would consider myself avant-garde, and that explains why I was invited all around the world and were in those magazines, because I inspired people and I came up with something fresh, and it took people to certain places mentally and helped people also over certain possible shaming triggers everybody experiencing, especially when you don't have a girlfriend, you know, or especially if you come up in your creativity in paths where maybe it gets on an intimate level strange or funny, you know, and my brand, my art then takes you over that and say, fuck it, just don't give an F, commit to your art, just I did that, you did that too, it's all good. So so plus I wanted to inspire other artists, because I reckon that I must bring them value. And one value would be, or is then, to steer their or amplify their creativity, because then, they experience something which is beneficial for them, and then they know it comes from me. Or maybe, I don't know if they know that, but I don't know how conscious people are. And I always worked with what I had, because people say I'm talented or something. I think that they are lying to themselves. That's not talent. For this, my work looks way too rough and too raw and too clumsy, which is part of my style. And from the 2000s onwards, I had like generations of other artists copying and stealing from me, as well as from colleagues, of course. And those were like people who were much more talented, because I knew from my high school time that there was also a talented guy in my class sitting next to me, and he was like, he did like strokes with his pen, comic figures. He could have probably at that time already had worked for newspapers or for while I was like Fleißarbeiter, I was doing like a lot, but it was like all like not so smooth in a way. So I had this in my mind, so I said, okay, I must put in more work, it's like much more work, like deliver, like, of course I love all German tanks. I'm a cat person, like tanks, in terms of tanks. But the Soviet Bolsheviks, with the help of certain people who built them the factory for the T-34, and then erased those people from history, of course, which is strange because they were like from the same cloth. But it was maybe like a different time in Soviet Russia. They went with mass production, the war. So, yeah. Who has time watching my videos? I mean, the people who I can take serious as men are busy with being activism and being in the resistant movement and doing provide resistance, and they are not here on YouTube watching art videos. It's completely ridiculous. Like, who has the time for that? It's completely stupid. Okay, of course, leftists who are trying to get me down, from the system. NGOs, how do you call them? Come up with your own words. They have the time for that, of course, yes. Or people who are sheeple and sleepers, who people are in deep sleep and don't want to hear the truth. Escapism, well, I'm sorry. You can buy me a coffee. No, I don't have buy me a coffee, but this would be like an option to how say that? Isn't that this function, buy me a coffee? People can donate me something. It's interesting that no one cares, no one wants to donate. It's the Claus Winkler effect. I just want to take it. No one cares about art. Maybe I should put in more work and more visual quality, and then... No, I'm just kidding. Doing that anyway. It's... all this works here since 2010, 11, 12, 13, roughly. I'm working in a rotation on one work step, one idea, or one technique, or one form, or pattern, or medium, or color bucket, or at one system at all paintings, or at a selection of all paintings. With this, I can increase my production, my productivity, while educating myself on politics and on what's going on in the world. And I mean, this is like, it's completely a waste of, no, it's not a waste, because it's like, but I can't tell it to people, I mean, I do, but yeah. So, how should I transform my paintings for the future which is coming, where whites are the minority in their own countries? The political discourse becomes more radical, or not radical, but it's more caliphate. Then certain people which weren't there long ago, a few years ago, they would do some nasty stuff, probably boomers. Yeah, that's like karma, I guess. So then everybody has less money. And I'm having paintings I worked for 26, 28, 35 more years. So nobody can pay for those paintings. Plus the art market is oversaturated anyway. The positive thing is I can, in theory, sell my work or promote my work all around the world. So there's also probably rich Indians or rich like family offices in Arabia who can buy my work. I don't know. Yeah. So when I'm holding the camera like this, I'm taking photos for. Yeah, I also have a Telegram channel. If you want to follow me there, I have now 9 followers, while I'm the 9th or the 1st. I don't know. So yeah, the 1st. So it's like 8 followers there. So there's 3 followers I don't know. The rest are people I know. Yeah, and they're hardly on Telegram, so, which is humbling because I remember in the 90s I had much more interest in my work, but I'm also, I guess, super shadow banned. Plus my content is way too complicated, or I don't know. I don't want to commit to that YouTube, internet, social media game. I'm also very happy that I'm not anymore using Facebook or X or Instagram. It's such a relief. I'm getting my stomach gets funky from just thinking about that. Yeah. I think I'll do the next video. I will have a little break, and then I will do the next video in German. I'm gonna connect to like myself, where I'm just being me, and just talk about all kinds of things. And in English, this still feels like systematic or not really. I don't know. Not being me, but like how I would talk. Maybe it's also the environment. I want to like give a time document, authentic. Oh yeah. So yeah. See you in the next video.